The living room of the Thompson mansion gleamed like a palace hall. White roses towered in crystal vases. At the center, a silver casket sat on a velvet pedestal. Inside lay Aisha Thompson, billionaire CEO, dressed in elegant white lace with a matching veil. Cotton wool plugged her nose and ears. Her face seemed peaceful, like she'd finally found rest. Tasha and Monique, her dearest friends, stood by the casket in black gowns, tears streaming down. Marcus, Jamal's best friend and a devoted pastor, lingered nearby with reddened eyes. The house staff crowded the back, heads bowed low as the doors swung open. Jamal Carter entered in a black suit, his steps heavy. He clutched his chest, wiping his eyes. He gazed at Aisha long, shook his head, and wept. Marcus stepped up, holding him. "It's all right," Marcus murmured. "God will console you." Jamal nodded, gulped, and raised his phone. He turned slightly, phone to his ear, hand over his mouth. He whispered low, but the quiet room heard it all. "Hello, my love," he said. "She's finally gone." The words hit like a slamming vault. Tasha froze. Monique's hand flew to her lips. Marcus's brows shot up. Even the maid held her breath. "You know what this means?" Jamal continued, still whispering. "By tomorrow, I'll take over the company. We'll rename it. Then jet to the Maldives for our wedding. Congrats to us." He hung up, pocketing the phone. Silence shattered. "Jamal," Monique snapped, advancing. "How evil can you be? Your wife's body is right here." Marcus's voice strained with hurt. "If anyone told me this, I'd never believe it." "Jamal, what became of you?" Tasha dried her tears, confronting him. "If you're after her legacy, we'll battle you with all we've got." Jamal looked stunned briefly. His face toughened. He parted his lips to speak. "But let's rewind to where the blaze ignited. 10 years ago. What do you think of this story so far? If you were in Aisha's shoes, would you forgive Jamal after all he did? Where are you watching from, and what time is it there? If you're hooked, hit like, share, and subscribe for more gripping tales. The Thompson mansion buzzed with the kind of energy that screamed success. Sunlight poured through floor-to-ceiling windows, bouncing off marble floors polished to a mirror shine. Aisha Thompson stood in the kitchen, sipping her morning coffee, her sharp eyes scanning the latest stock reports on her tablet. At 28, she was already a force, CEO of Thompson Group, a powerhouse in tech and real estate that she'd inherited from her late father. Dark skin glowing under the recessed lights, she wore a tailored pantsuit that hugged her curves just right, exuding that effortless boss vibe. Jamal Carter sauntered in, flashing his trademark grin. He was her rock, or so everyone said, the ambitious corporate lawyer who'd swept her off her feet 3 years back. Tall, broad-shouldered, with a fade haircut and a beard trimmed to perfection, he looked every bit the power player. "Morning, Queen," he murmured, wrapping his arms around her waist from behind. His lips brushed her neck, sending a familiar shiver down her spine. "You up conquering the world already?" Aisha leaned into him, chuckling softly. "Somebody's got to keep the empire running. You hitting the office early today?" She turned, planting a quick kiss on his lips. Their chemistry was electric, the kind that turned heads at galas and board meetings. People whispered about them. The ultimate power couple. Black excellence personified. "Yeah, I got a big merger to close," Jamal replied, pouring himself a mug. "But first, how about we sneak in a little less time?" His eyes sparkled with a playful hunger, and Aisha felt her resolve weaken. Work could wait 5 minutes. They'd met at a fundraiser in downtown Atlanta, where Aisha was the keynote speaker. Jamal, fresh out of Harvard Law, cornered her during cocktail hour with a line that was equal parts charm and smarts. "You built an empire from scratch? Damn, teach me your ways before I embarrass myself in court." She laughed genuinely for the first time in months after her dad's passing. 6 months later, they eloped in a quiet ceremony on the beach, just them and a handful of close friends. No drama, no fuss, just pure, unfiltered love. Fast forward, and life was a whirlwind of boardrooms and red-eye flights. But they made it work. Aisha's company raked in billions, expanding into AI and green tech. Jamal climbed the ranks at his firm, handling high-stakes deals that kept their bank accounts overflowing. They hosted barbecues in their sprawling backyard, where friends like Tasha and Monique would tease them about being couple goals. Marcus, Jamal's pastor buddy from college, often dropped by for Sunday dinners, quoting Bible verses about blessings and unity. Then came the baby. Little Nia arrived like a burst of sunshine, her tiny fists waving as if ready to take on the world. Aisha remembered the delivery room chaos. Jamal gripping her hand, sweat beading on his forehead, whispering, "You got this, babe. She's gonna be fierce like her mama." Nia's giggles filled the house, turning the mansion into a home. She'd clap at the simplest things, the whir of the blender, the flicker of the TV remote, even the neighbor's dog barking through the fence. But joy can flip to heartbreak in a heartbeat. One sticky summer evening, Nia's fever spiked out of nowhere. Aisha scooped her up, heart pounding, as Jamal floored the gas to the ER. Monitors beeped frantically. Doctors rushed in, faces grim. Prayers echoed in the sterile hallway. Jamal on his knees, begging God for a miracle. Then silence, the kind that sucks the air out of the room. Nia was gone. Just like that. The days blurred into a haze of grief. Aisha threw herself into work, bearing the pain under spreadsheets and strategy sessions. Jamal withdrew, his smiles fading into forced nods. They tried therapy, vacations, hell, even fertility treatments. Hospital after hospital, test after test. Months stretched into years, the empty nursery a constant gut punch. "We'll get through this," Aisha would say, squeezing his hand at night, but the knot in her chest tightened, unyielding. To cope, Aisha poured everything into Jamal. She handed him a black Amex with no limit. "Spoil yourself, hun. You deserve it." He bought flashy watches, took solo trips to Vegas, said it cleared his head. When he complained about the grind at his firm, she created a spot for him at Thompson Group, chief legal officer. "Your family," she told him, signing the papers. "What's mine is yours." At first it felt right. Jamal dove in, reviewing contracts with laser focus. Board meetings lit up with his ideas, streamlining ops, dodging lawsuits like a pro. Aisha watched him thrive, her heart swelling. "See? We're unbreakable," she'd whisper during late-night cuddles. But cracks started showing, subtle at first. Jamal lingered longer at the office, eyes glued to financial reports. He'd mutter about untapped potential, his fingers drumming on the desk like he was plotting a heist. One night, over takeout Chinese, he leaned back, casual as hell. "Babe, what if we rebranded? Thompson Carter Group. Put my name on it too. Make it ours for real." Aisha paused, fork midway to her mouth. She wiped her lips, staring him down. "You serious? This is Dad's legacy. I love you, Jamal, but that's a no-go." Her voice stayed firm, but inside a flicker of doubt sparked. He laughed it off. "Just kidding, Queen. Lighten up." But his eyes darkened for a split second. She brushed it aside. After all, he was her partner, her ride or die. But as weeks turned to months, Jamal's requests ramped up. Another SUV for security, lavish gifts that vanished into thin air. Aisha noticed the late nights, the hushed phone calls. "Work stuff," he'd say, flashing that grin. She trusted him, like a fool trusts the ground under their feet. Deep down, though, unease gnawed at her. Little things. A receipt for a diamond necklace she never received. Whispers from staff about Mr. Carter's side projects. Aisha shoved it down, focusing on the empire. But one evening, alone in her study, she pulled up the company accounts. Numbers danced on the screen, but something felt off. Subtle dips, unexplained transfers. Her gut twisted. "Nah, it's nothing," she muttered, closing the laptop. But the seed was planted. Jamal, her perfect match, was starting to feel like a puzzle with missing pieces. As the sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the mansion, Aisha stood by the window, arms crossed. Jamal breezed in, keys jingling. "Hey, babe, what's for dinner?" He pecked her cheek, oblivious. She forced a smile, but her mind raced. Love blinds you, they say. And damn, was she starting to see spots. Jamal slammed his office door shut, the echo bouncing off the sleek glass walls of Thompson Group's headquarters. He loosened his tie, smirking as he pulled out his burner phone, the one Aisha didn't know about. "Hey, baby," he whispered into it, voice dripping with that slick charm. "Miss me yet?" On the other end, Keisha Johnson purred back. Her laugh low and teasing. Always, Daddy. Where are you coming from? I got that new lingerie you like. Jamal's pulse quickened. Keisha was fire. Curvy, bold, with a hustle that matched his own. They'd met at a networking mixer 6 months back, her eyes locking on him like a shark spotting blood. One drink led to another, and boom, he was hooked. She wasn't like Aisha, all business and boundaries. Keisha made him feel alive, dangerous. I'll swing by tonight, he said, glancing at the door. Got some loose ends to tie up here first. He hung up, heart racing, and fired up his computer. The screen lit up with Thompson Group's financial dashboard, millions flowing in from deals Aisha had sealed. His fingers flew across the keys, rerouting a chunk. $200K to an offshore account, labeled as consulting fees. Easy peasy. Aisha trusted him blind. She'd never dig deep. But guilt? Nah, that ship had sailed. After Nia's death, the marriage felt like a cage. Aisha buried herself in work, leaving him starving for attention. Keisha filled the void, nights in her downtown condo, champagne popping, bodies tangled. You're meant for bigger things, she'd whisper, nails tracing his chest. Why play second fiddle to her daddy's ghost? Jamal leaned back, rubbing his temples. The rebrand pitch had bombed. Aisha shut it down cold. Dad's legacy, she'd said, like it was sacred ground. Screw that. He deserved a slice. Hell, more than a slice. With her out of the picture? No, he pushed the thought down. Not yet. Across town, Aisha paced her home office, the city skyline mocking her through the windows. Her stomach churned as she scrolled through the latest bank alerts. Another withdrawal, big one, from the foundation account. What the hell? She muttered, zooming in. Signed off by Jamal. Investment opportunity, the note read. But no details, no follow-up. She slammed her laptop shut, breath coming in sharp bursts. This wasn't the first red flag. Last week, she'd found a hotel receipt in his jacket, some swanky spot in Buckhead, time-stamped for a meeting he never mentioned. And the calls, always stepping out, voice hushed. Just clients, babe, he'd say, flashing that dimpled smile. But her gut screamed otherwise. Aisha grabbed her phone, dialing Tasha. Girl, I need advice, she said when her friend picked up. Jamal's acting shady, money's vanishing, and he's ghosting me half the time. Tasha sucked in a breath. Damn, Aisha, you think he's stepping out? Hire someone, a PI. Don't let him play you. The words hit like a punch. Aisha hung up, staring at her reflection in the darkened screen. Strong, unbreakable on the outside, cracking inside. She pulled up a search. Private investigator, Atlanta discreet. Top result, Ray Donovan, ex-cop turned sleuth. Handles corporate espionage and personal matters, his site boasted. She booked him that night, voice steady over the line. Follow my husband. I need proof. Photos, records, everything. Ray didn't flinch. Got it, ma'am. 2 weeks, full report. Days blurred into a tense wait. Jamal kept up the act. Breakfast kisses, late-night texts about crushing it at work. But Aisha saw the shifts, his eyes darting away during dinner, the new cologne that wasn't her gift. One evening, he vanished for hours, claiming a client dinner. She tracked his phone, old habit from their early days, and it pinged at an address in Midtown. Not a restaurant, a condo building. Her chest tightened. Liar, she whispered, tears stinging. But she held it together, playing the loving wife while Ray dug. The report dropped like a bomb. Aisha sat in her car, flipping through the folder in a deserted parking lot. Photos, Jamal and some woman, Keisha, Ray's note said, arm in arm outside a luxury spot, kisses in the shadows. Then the bombshell, wire transfers, millions siphoned from Thompson Group, funneled to shell companies, then to Keisha's name on a deed for a mansion in the suburbs. Banana Island vibes, but stateside, Ray had joked in his email. Aisha's hands shook. That son of a bitch. But the worst? Recordings from a bug Ray planted in Jamal's car. His voice cold and calculated. Once she's gone, it's all ours. I know a guy. Discreet, professional. Accident maybe. Heart attack, clean. Hired killers. The words blurred through her tears. Jamal wasn't just cheating. He was plotting her in. To steal it all. her company, her life. She wiped her face, fire replacing the hurt. No more playing nice. She dialed Dr. Leroy Hayes, their family doc since forever. "Leroy, I need a favor, crazy one." His voice crackled with concern. "Aisha, what's up?" "Stage my death, make it look real. I gotta catch him in the act." Silence stretched. Then, "You're serious? This could backfire big time." "Dead serious," she shot back, pun unintended. "He's coming for me. I strike first." Leroy sighed. "All right, we'll plan it tight. Pills to slow your heart, fake autopsy. But Aisha, be careful. Men like that don't go down easy." She hung up, staring at the skyline. The empire she'd built was crumbling from within, but she'd rebuild on its ruins. Jamal thought he had her fooled. Big mistake. As night fell, Aisha slipped the folder into her safe, locking it with a click. Tomorrow the trap is set, no turning back. The Thompson mansion's living room felt like a goddamn tomb, heavy with the scent of white roses and polished wood. Sunlight filtered through drawn curtains, casting eerie shadows on the silver casket perched on its velvet stand. Aisha lay inside, her face serene under the makeup, white lace gown hugging her like a shroud. Cotton wool stuffed her nostrils and ears, making her look every bit the departed queen. Staff milled about in hushed whispers, heads down, while Tasha and Monique hovered by the casket, black dresses clinging to their frames as tears carved paths down their cheeks. Marcus stood a few feet back, Bible tucked under his arm, eyes rimmed red. As Jamal's best friend and the family pastor, he'd volunteered to lead the service later. "This hit's different," he muttered to himself, throat tight. Aisha had been the glue, fierce, generous, always dropping wisdom like it was casual convo. Now she was gone. "Heart attack," the doc said. "Too young, too sudden." The front doors creaked open, and Jamal shuffled in, shoulders slumped in his crisp black suit. He clutched his chest like it ached, dabbing at his eyes with a handkerchief. Every step dragged, like the weight of the world was on him. Staff parted like the Red Sea, murmuring condolences. He approached the casket, staring down at Aisha's still form. His lips trembled, and a sob escaped, loud, raw, echoing off the high ceilings. Tasha glanced up, her heart twisting. "Poor Jamal," she whispered to Monique. "He's wrecked." Monique nodded, sniffling, but something nagged at her, the way his grief seemed dialed up, like a performance. Jamal lingered, shaking his head slowly. "Why, God? Why her?" he wailed softly, voice cracking just right. Marcus moved in, clapping a hand on his shoulder. "Brother, lean on him. He'll carry you through this storm." Jamal nodded, swallowing hard, then fished out his phone like it was an afterthought. He turned his back a smidge, phone pressed to his ear, free hand cupping his mouth. The room was dead quiet, pin drop silent, so his whisper carried like a shout. "Hey, my love," he said, tone shifting to something slick, excited. "She's finally gone." The words landed like a gut punch. Tasha's breath hitched, her body freezing mid-wipe of her tears. Monique's hand shot to her mouth, eyes wide as saucers. Marcus's brows furrowed deep, his Bible nearly slipping from his grip. Even the maid in the corner gasped, hand flying to her chest. Jamal kept going, oblivious or uncaring. "You get what this means? By tomorrow, I'm CEO. We'll slap our names on it, Carter Thompson or whatever. Then we're off to the Maldives, tying the knot on the beach. Congrats, baby." He chuckled low, ending the call and sliding the phone back in his pocket like nothing had happened. Silence exploded into chaos. Monique stepped forward first, voice sharp as a knife. "Jamal, what the hell?" Her eyes blazed, fists clenched at her sides. "Your wife's body ain't even cold, and you're out here celebrating with some side piece." Tasha wiped her face hard, stepping up beside her. "How low can you sink? Aisha gave you everything, her heart, her empire, and this is how you repay her? Plotting takeovers at her funeral?" Marcus's face twisted in disbelief, hurt flashing raw. "Man, if somebody dropped this on me, I'd call BS. Jamal, what happened to you? We grew up together. Church boys, remember? This ain't you." Jamal blinked, feigning shock, his handkerchief still clutched like a prop. Whoa, hold up. Y'all misheard. That was business. Yeah, wrapping up loose ends for the company. But his voice wavered, eyes darting to the casket like it might bite. Monique crossed her arms, not buying it. Business? Sounded like wedding plans to me. And the Maldives? Aisha hated the beach, said it was overrated tourist crap. The staff murmured, heads shaking, a few edging closer like they were ready for a showdown. One gardener whispered to the cook, I knew he was shady, always sneaking out late. Jamal's facade cracked, sweat beading on his forehead. Y'all twisting my words, I'm grieving here, same as you. He pointed at Marcus. You, of all people, my brother, turning on me? Aisha wouldn't want this drama. Marcus stepped closer, voice low but thunderous. Nah, she wouldn't want her husband scheming over her corpse. Repent, Jamal. This path's dark. Greed's got you twisted. Tasha's tears turned to fury, her finger jabbing the air. If you're gunning for her legacy, we'll fight tooth and nail. Aisha built this from nothing. We won't let you trash it. Jamal's eyes narrowed, the mask slipping full. He opened his mouth, ready to fire back, words bubbling up like venom. Jamal's mouth hung open, words tumbling out like venom, ready to strike. Y'all got it twisted. This is my house, my grief. Back off before I... But then it happened. A twitch. Subtle at first, like a breeze rustling the lace on Aisha's gown. Tasha's eyes darted to the casket, her face draining of color. Wait, did you see that? She whispered, voice cracking. Monique pointed, finger shaking. Her hand! Oh, God! Marcus stumbled forward, Bible clutched like a shield. Lord have mercy! Inside the silver box, Aisha's fingers curled, nails scraping softly against the satin lining. Her eyelids fluttered, then snapped open, sharp, alive, locking onto Jamal like lasers. The room erupted. Screams pierced the air, chairs scraping back as staff scattered. The maid bolted for the door, yelling, Ghost! It's a ghost! The gardener tripped over a vase, shattering it into shards. Jamal staggered backwards, spine slamming into a marble column. His phone clattered to the floor, screen cracking. No! Impossible! He gasped, face ashen, knees buckling. Sweat poured down his temples, mixing with the fake tears he'd mustered earlier. Aisha pushed up slowly, chest rising with deliberate breaths. Cotton wool tumbled from her nose, rolling across the casket's edge. She swung her legs over, heels clicking on the marble as she stood tall, gown catching the chandelier, light like flames. Her gaze never left Jamal, thunder in her eyes, calm fury etched in every line of her face. Tasha backed into a wall, hands trembling. Aisha, girl, is that really you? Her voice broke, a mix of terror and relief. Monique clutched her chest, hyperventilating. We buried you. How? Marcus raised his hands, whispering prayers. Miracle? It's a miracle. Dr. Leroy Hayes rose from his corner seat, where he'd blended into the shadows. His eyes glistened, but his voice cut through the chaos steadily. She was never dead. We staged it, all of it, to smoke out the truth. Gas rippled through the room. The staff froze, eyes wide. Cynthia, the maid, dropped to her knees, scarf slipping off. Miss Aisha? Alive? Aisha stepped forward, head high, perfume wafting like a storm cloud. Jamal pointed a shaky finger. You were gone. Leroy said... Heart stopped cold. His words stumbled, panic rising like bile. She stopped inches from him, the air between them crackling. Surprise, husband, she hissed, voice low and lethal. Then her hand flew, palm connecting with his cheek in a crack that echoed like gunfire. Jamal reeled sideways, clutching his face, red welt blooming instantly. That, Aisha spat through gritted teeth, is for stabbing me in the back after I handed you the world on a platter. Her voice ramped up, slicing the silence. I trusted you with my life, my company, my dad's blood, sweat, and tears. Gave you the keys to the kingdom. And what do? Hook up with that homewrecker, Keisha, siphon millions for her mansion, and plot to erase me so you could play king. Jamal's eyes darted wildly, mask shattered. You set me up. This is entrapment. I'll sue. But his bluff rang hollow, sweat soaking his collar. Aisha held up a hand, silencing him coldly. Save it. Everyone heard you, gloating over my corpse, planning your beach wedding. You hired hitmen, Jamal. Thought a fake accident would clean your slate. But God? He flipped the script. The room buzzed, staff whispering furiously. Tasha's shock flipped to rage. You monster! We mourned her. Real tears, while you schemed? Monique nodded, arms crossed tight. Disgusting. Aisha, we're with you. He won't touch a dime. Marcus's jaw clenched. Jamal, this greed, it's poison. Turn back before it's too late. Jamal snarled, anger bubbling over. You think this ends me? Keisha's got my back. I'll fight this. Watch me walk tomorrow. He jabbed a finger at Aisha. You started a war, wife. Mark my words, I'll finish it. Staff gasped again. Aisha's eyes narrowed, unflinching. Cynthia, she called sharply, call the cops. Now. Cynthia scrambled for her phone, fingers flying. Yes, ma'am. Right away. Minutes stretched like hours, tension thick as fog. Jamal paced in a tight circle, muttering curses, eyes flicking to the exits like a trapped rat. Aisha stood rooted, arms folded, watching him squirm. Inside, her heart hammered, betrayal's sting fresh, but victory's fire burning brighter. Sirens wailed outside, growing louder. Doors burst open as cops stormed in, badges flashing, hands on holsters. Lead officer, Inspector Davis, scanned the scene. Mrs. Thompson, we got a call. Attempted murder, fraud. Aisha pointed straight at Jamal. That's him, my husband. He planned my hit, stole from the company, and betrayed everything. Lock him up. Jamal laughed bitterly, wild. This is BS. I'm Jamal Carter, lawyer, not criminal. You'll hear from my attorney. Davis didn't blink. Save it for the judge. Two officers grabbed Jamal's arms, yanking him toward the door. He twisted, shouting, Aisha, you'll regret this. Keisha and I will bury you in court. The doors slammed shut behind him, muffling his yells as the van peeled away. The mansion fell quiet, echoes fading. The Atlanta courthouse buzzed like a hornet's nest, reporters jamming the halls, cameras flashing nonstop. Inside courtroom 3, tension hung thick, air conditioning humming against the sweat on everyone's necks. Aisha sat at the plaintiff's table, flanked by Tasha and Monique, her navy suit crisp, face a mask of steel. She'd prepped for weeks, replaying Jamal's betrayal in her head like a bad movie loop. No more tears, just cold resolve. Jamal slouched in the dock, orange jumpsuit ill-fitting, mustache unkempt, eyes hollow from jail nights. He shot Aisha a smirk as she entered, whispering to his lawyer. She's glowing. Bet she's loving this. Aisha ignored him, pulse steady, but inside fury simmered. The judge, a grizzled vet named Harlan, banged his gavel. Order! State versus Jamal Carter. Fraud, embezzlement, attempted murder. Proceed. Prosecutor Elena Ramirez stood tall, voice booming. Your Honor, the evidence paints a clear picture. Mr. Carter siphoned millions from Thompson Group. Bank records show transfers to shell companies, then to a mansion in Keisha Johnson's name. She clicked a remote. Screens lit up with spreadsheets, red arrows highlighting the thefts. 5 million gone, folks. Poof! Gasps rippled through the gallery. Aisha clenched her fists under the table, remembering the shock of those numbers. Ramirez kept rolling. But it gets darker. Recordings from a PI bug. Carter discussing hitmen. Make it look natural. A heart attack. And the cherry? At his wife's staged funeral, he calls his mistress. She's gone. The company's ours. Maldives wedding. We have audio. Witnesses. Dr. Leroy took the stand first, swearing in calmly. I helped stage the death. Pills to mimic cardiac arrest. Aisha suspected foul play. We caught him red-handed. Jamal's lawyer, slick-suited Vickers, crossed him hard. Staged? Sounds like entrapment. You are a doctor or a playwright, Hayes? Leroy leaned forward. Doctor, and saving her life beats burying her for real. Cynthia, the maid, fidgeted on the stand. I saw him sneak funds, midnight logins. Heard him on the phone. Keisha gets the house. Vickers pounced. Hearsay? Your staff, biased much. But the hits kept coming. Ray, the PI, laid out photos. Jamal and Keisha tangled in embraces, deed papers in her hand. Trailed him for weeks. Solid proof. Jamal fidgeted, whispering frantically to Vickers. Get her up there. Keisha'll back me. Vickers rose for defense, tone dramatic. This is a witch hunt, Your Honor. A jealous wife stages her death to torpedo her husband. Those transfers, legit investments. The calls, misunderstood stress talk. No hitmen, just paranoia, the gallery murmured. Aisha's jaw tightened. How dare he twist it? Jamal took the stand, voice butter smooth. I loved Aisha. Still do. She's my world. He paused, eyes misting fake. But she got jealous, accused me of affairs that weren't real, staged this hoax to humiliate me. The money? Business moves. Murder? Laughable. I'd never hurt her. Spectators shifted, some nodding. Tasha leaned toward Aisha. He's slick. Jury's buying it? Aisha's turn. She strode up, gaze drilling into Jamal. Love? You call hiring killers love? Emptying accounts for your side chick? Celebrating at my grave? Her voice rose, steady fire. True love doesn't plot hits or steal legacies. This ain't jealousy. It's justice. The room erupted, reporters scribbling wildly. Jamal slammed the dock. Lies, all lies, you trapped me. Harlan gavelled hard. Order! One more outburst, Carter, and you're in contempt. Then the bombshell. Keisha on the stand. She sashayed in, silk blouse tight, eyes calculating. Vickers grinned. Ms. Johnson, tell us about your relationship. Keisha glanced at Jamal, then Aisha. We had an affair. He promised the world, mansion, company shares. Gasps. Jamal's face paled. But he pushed me to lie here. Said we'd split everything after her accident. I couldn't. Too deep. Vickers stammered. What? You're our witness. Keisha shrugged. Changed my mind. Immunity deal? I'm spilling. He hired the guys, funneled cash. Recordings? Got 'em on my phone. The courtroom exploded. Jamal lunged forward. You snake! We had a deal. Bailiffs restrained him. Aisha watched, satisfaction blooming. Keisha turning coat to save her skin. Ramirez closed strong. Evidence overwhelming. Greed, betrayal, attempted murder. Lock him up. Vickers floundered. Miscarriage of justice. Family spat blown up. Harlan leaned back, eyes sharp. I've heard enough. Guilty on all counts, fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy to murder. 7 years, hard time. Aisha exhaled slowly, shoulders sagging as relief hit. Justice tasted sweet, but bitter too. Her marriage's corpse lay bare. Jamal stood frozen, then turned, eyes burning into hers. This ain't over, Aisha. Watch your back. She met his stare. Bring it. Truth's on my side. Gavel down. Case closed. But the scars? They'd linger. Years blurred like rain on a windshield. The trial's echo fading into Atlanta's hum. Keisha strutted out of court, heels clicking triumphantly. The judge's words ringing. Mansion's yours. Legal transfer holds. She flashed a grin at the cameras, flipping her hair. Justice served. Haters gonna hate. The suburban mansion became her playground. Parties thumping till dawn. Champagne flowing like water. Gambling sprees in Vegas stripping her accounts bare. Live it up, she'd slur to her entourage. Maxing cards on designer halls and private jets. But debts piled like trash. Creditors circling, lawsuits slamming. One night, repo men towed her Benz. Next, the house was auctioned off. Keisha hit rock bottom, wandering Buckhead streets barefoot, panhandling for scraps. Spare change? Come on, I used to run this town. Regret gnawed her gut, greed's bite finally drawing blood. Inside the state pen, Jamal's first months burned with rage. Cell block air stank of sweat and bleach, bars clanging like accusations. He paced his tiny cell, fists clenched, ignoring the jeers from inmates. Fancy lawyer, boy. Now you're slop with us, one tattooed brute snarled, cracking knuckles. Jamal shot back. Shut your mouth, I'm out soon. Appeal's gonna flip this. He smuggled a phone through a crooked guard, dialing Keisha frantically. Baby, bail me out. Use the stash. We'll hit back hard. Her voice came cool, distant. Stash? Spent it. You're on your own, fool. Click. Betrayal hit like a shank, his empire crumbling, allies vanishing, nights dragged endlessly, solitude cracking his armor. Facing the mirror's scarred reflection, Jamal replayed the funeral. Aisha rising like Judgment Day, her slap stinging fresh. What a punk, he muttered, but doubt crept in. He grabbed paper, scribbling his first letter. Aisha, you ruined me. Set me up like a chump. You'll pay. Mailed it, fury fueling the ink. But weeks turned months, isolation grinding him down. Inmates' stories mirrored his, greed's quicksand pulling them under. One old-timer bullet leaned in during yard time. You think you're special? We all started cocky. Life humbles you, kid. Jamal's letters shifted. The next, hate what you did, but maybe I pushed too far. Keisha ghosted. Karma's a bitch. He stared at the ceiling, memories flooding. Aisha's laugh at their wedding, Nia's tiny hands. Regret twisted like a knife. Another letter. I see it now. Blinded by the green. Stole from you. Plotted worse. Sorry, don't cut it. But damn, I am. Tears smudged the page, his hands shaking. Pride shattered. Humility seeped in. Forgive me? Nah, I don't deserve it. Just know I get it. Lost my soul chasing yours. Aisha's world spun forward, scars healing under new light. Thompson Group boomed, stocks soaring, expansions into green tech turning heads on Wall Street. She buried herself in boardrooms, but loneliness lingered like a shadow. Then came the conference in D.C. Blueprints sprawled on a table. Tyrone Brooks leaned over, pointing at designs. This atrium? Game changer. Let's in that natural vibe. Tall, with gentle eyes behind glasses, he was an architect with a quiet fire, sketching dreams into reality. Their chats stretched late, coffee turning to dinners, laughs easing her guard. You're real, Tyrone, she said one night, over burgers in a dive joint. No games, just straight up. He smiled softly. Life's too short for BS. After my divorce, I learned. Honesty's the foundation. Faith bound them. Sunday services where he'd quote verses on renewal, his hand warm in hers. Friendship bloomed into heat, his touch igniting sparks she'd forgotten. Back in Atlanta, Tyrone proposed in her garden, ring box trembling. Aisha, you've been through hell. Let me be your peace. Marry me? Tears welled. She saw no greed, just love raw and real. Yes, she whispered, pulling him close. Hell yes. The wedding glowed intimate, white roses nodding in a cozy hall. Friends toasting their glow. Tasha raised a glass. To second chances. Girl, you deserve this. Monique hugged her tight. He's a keeper, no doubt. Months later, twins arrived. Two boys wailing into the world, filling the mansion with chaos and joy. Aisha cradled them, exhaustion mixing with bliss. David and Daniel, she named them, symbols of fight and grace. Tyrone beamed, changing diapers like a pro. Our little squad, unbreakable. The company thrived under her lead, a beacon of resilience. Headlines praising her comeback. Jamal's final letters poured in, raw pleas stacking on her desk. Aisha read them late at night, boys asleep upstairs. From curses to confessions, his chains shone through. Messed up everything, greed ate me alive. Pray you find happy, I ain't worth it, but forgive this fool? She traced the words, heart softening, not for him, but for closure's sake. The prison gates clanged open with a finality that echoed in Jamal's chest, spitting him out into the glaring Atlanta sun. 7 years inside had carved him hollow. Once sharp suit, now baggy on his thinned frame. Mustache streaked gray, eyes sunken like forgotten wells. He clutched a plastic bag of belongings, faded letters, a worn Bible from Marcus. No cash, no ride. Free man, a guard sneered, slamming the gate. Jamal shuffled forward, heart pounding, expecting empty streets, a fresh start in oblivion, but there she stood. Aisha, poised by a black SUV, twins, 6-year-olds now, peeking from the back seat. Tyrone Brooks at her side, arm protective around her waist. She looked radiant, business casual slang as always, hair in soft twists, a quiet strength in her stance. The boys waved shyly, Tyrone nodding neutrally. Jamal froze, breath-catching. Aisha, you came? She stepped closer, eyes scanning his wreck of a form, not with hate, but something softer, pity mixed with resolve. Yeah, needed to see this through. Her voice held no edge, just fact. Jamal's throat bobbed, words jamming up. I got nothing. No place, no dough. Figured I'd crash on a bench till I scraped something. He dropped his gaze, shame burning hot. Tyrone shifted, glancing at Aisha. You sure about this? He murmured low, hand squeezing hers. She nodded firmly, turning back to Jamal. Look at me. He did, eyes glistening. I read your letters. All that regret, the change. Greed wrecked you, Jamal. But I ain't carrying that weight no more. He swallowed hard, knees wobbling. I don't deserve squat from you. Plotted your end, stole your shine. I'm poison. Aisha's lips pressed thin, then softened. I forgive you. Not for your sake, for mine. Want to live light, no chains. She paused, voice steady. But forgiveness ain't a free pass. Thompson Group's got an opening. Entry-level admin, filing papers, crunching basics. Start small. Prove you're different. Take it or walk. Jamal's eyes widened, tears spilling unchecked. You'd, after everything, give me a shot? His voice cracked, body trembling. He dropped to his knees right there on the cracked pavement, bag thudding down. Sobs racked him, his shoulders heaving. Thank you. God, thank you. I swear I'll grind. Head down, no shortcuts. Aisha knelt too, hand on his shoulder. Get up. Show me with actions, not words. Tyrone helped him stand, no judgment in his grip. The twins watched wide-eyed, one whispering, Mommy's helping the man? Jamal wiped his face, nodding fiercely. I will. For real this time. Months flew by, Jamal clocking in at a quiet branch office downtown. No corner suite, just a desk in the bullpen, sorting docs, inputting data. Co-workers side-eyed at first. Ain't that the ex-con hubby? But he kept low, brewing coffee runs, staying late. Humility fit awkwardly, like a too-tight shirt, but it stuck. Lunch breaks, he'd read Aisha's old letter tucked in his drawer. Real wealth's peace, forgiveness, love. Guard it. Regret hit waves, but he channeled it. Volunteering at church with Marcus, mentoring kids on avoiding pitfalls. Peace crept in slowly. First a decent night's sleep, then a small apartment. Bills paid honestly. No flash, just steady. Sundays he'd spot Aisha at services, family glowing, and nod respectfully from the back pew. No words needed. Her forgiveness had rebuilt him brick by brick. Aisha thrived, twins tearing through the house with laughs. Tyrone her rock. Late night talks turning to dreams. Thompson Group hit new highs. Innovations landing covers on Forbes. Her story inspiring TED Talks on resilience. Betrayal breaks you, she'd say, but grace rebuilds. With Tyrone, love felt real. No shadows. Weekend barbecues with Tasha and Monique. Kids playing tag. Life full circle. In quiet moments, Aisha glanced at old photos. Jamal's fall a reminder. Greed devours, but forgiveness heals. Turning ashes to dawn. And there you have it, folks. The tale of Aisha Thompson. A story that reminds us all how greed can tear lives apart. But forgiveness and a second chance have the power to heal even the deepest wounds. Turning heartbreak into hope and humanity. If you were in Aisha's shoes, facing that kind of betrayal, would you find it in your heart to forgive and offer redemption? Or would you walk away for good? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories or perspectives. They always spark the best conversations. Stick around for our next video, where we'll dive into another gripping saga of family secrets and unexpected twists that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Thanks so much for watching and joining me on this journey. See you soon. Take care out there.